Welcome students. So in today's lecture we shall be learning about the budget, which is the last chapter of our subject drugstore and business management. So we will study about how a budget is planned, what are its objectives, the budgetary controls and the art of budgeting. So now let us start with the topic of budget. So first of all, let us define what a budget is. So what is the budget? It is a written plan. So I will be writing here that it is a written plan that is covering the projected activities of a firm. So it will be covering all the projects or the projected activities of a firm, and all this occurs in a definite time period. So it is having a definite period of time In fact, a budget is a tool of management for carrying out its function of, so it is basically a tool that carries out the function of planning, coordinating, and finally the controlling of operations. So it's basically a tool to control all these things. So it is a system of both a plan as well as the control. So what are its objectives? So now let us start with the objectives of the budgetary control. Now what are the objectives of the budgetary control? The number one is planning. A budget is a plan of action. So for the success of a firm, it is essential that it must plan a budget which will be helpful in the phase of management activities. So it basically draws up or it is a drawing up of detailed plans. Now these plans are related to sales target, production schedules, then the advertising programs, the raw material cost, and the other things. So it basically helps us to arise the solution before the problem is being created. So an effective planning already removes many hindrances and problems that we will face in the future. The second objective is coordination. An effective coordination requires proper communication of objectives and instructions. So a comprehensive budgetary controls require that these plans be formally laid down in the budget, and copies are therefore distributed to all the management personnel. So in the coordination, parts of budget are assigned to various departments of the firm so that they can reflect their own requirements. So that these departments can reflect their own requirements from the firm. So by this we can create a comprehensive approach of the budget. The third objective is control. It is the action necessary to ensure that plans and objectives are being achieved. So for this, the predetermined standards are to be set. So predetermined standards are to be set, and the development of the budget provides a strong basis of control. So there is a comparison between the actual performance with the predetermined standards, and the objectives and reportings of any shortfall are reported to the management for their necessary corrective actions. So by this we can find out that where we lag and where we are performing exceptionally well. So these are the major objectives of budgetary control: the planning, coordination and the control. Now next is, what are the various advantages of the budgetary control? Now what are the various advantages of the budgetary control? So let us start. The first one is, the final decision represents the combined judgment of the entire organization. Therefore the budgetary control combines the idea of all level management. So in this, the idea of all level management is achieved. Then comes the second, it directs the capital expenditure into the most profitable channels. So capital invested ensures profitable returns. This can only happen by the comprehensive budget approach. Also it leads to the efficient carrying out of operations. And it eliminates the uncertainty of any kind. The budgetary control or budgeting coordinates the activities of various departments and their function by laying down limits and targets for them. So we can say through the budgetary control, a goal can be further divided into small targets which are easier to achieve, and that ultimately leads to the final operation for the goal to be targeted. And the fifth, the most important one is it is flexible to adjust any losses that are being incurred during the process. So if any loss occurs, the budget is designed in such a manner that it is flexible to absorb those losses. So these are the major advantages that are associated with this. And now what are the requirements of effective budgeting? The next topic is the requirements of effective budgeting. Now what are the requirements of effective budgeting? The first one is that cooperation of top management is always required. The cooperation of top management is always required, followed by the clearly defined goals. So a clearly defined goals need to be set through a clearly defined organization. In order to calculate all these important parameters, an accurate accounting system is also required. So, the third requirement is the accurate accounting system. Then comes the fourth, that is the unambiguous policies, the policies which are free from any bias. So, these are referred to as unambiguous policies. So, basically no biasing should be there. Then responsible executives are assigned with the proper carrying out of the budgetary plan. Then a constant vigilance is kept on whether the required target is achieved or not. Then a budget committee is to be set that overviews all these operations. Cost of each operation is to be carried out, and it is calculated to further enhance the approach of a comprehensive budget. And finally, the budget education is important because it helps to understand that how a budget is allocated and how it is to be used by each and every department in order to ascertain the actual results. So, this was regarding the requirements of effective budgeting. So, students, now it is clear that what is a budget? It is a written plan that is monitoring all the projected activities, but in a definite period of time. So, it is a tool to manage the planning, coordination and controlling. The objectives are planning, coordination and control. Then comes the advantages and requirements. So, it will surely come in the short question of your exam. So, prepare this topic. I hope the overview of a budget and the budgetary control is clear to you all now.